Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train a Dragon podcast. I'm your host, HC, and with me are.
Rush 2112.
And Wolf.
And today we have a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Valkyrie, and I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here. And the reason we have her here is because we are going on with our shipping adventures, I guess you could say. We are going to talk about ships involving everyone's favorite general half, Astrid. I can already see the discussions that are going to come out of this. So I guess we can only start with the obvious one. Now that we have a lot more to discuss with this, let's talk about Hickstrid for a bit. Just to see where everyone's standing on regarding the canon ship. Valkyrie, you're the guest. Do you want to start?
Sure. So, for the most part, I only write Hickstrid fanfics, and I'm pretty sure my blog was dedicated to them. I don't post about them that much. I see a lot of flaws in their relationship, but generally, I like them.
Okay. Rush, you're the consistent Hickstrid shipper of this podcast, I guess you could say. What do you have to say as of now?
I just have the biggest smile on my face, and no, but I I really enjoy it just because it mainly like just the idea of the how it began really reminded me of how I got my girlfriend, now fiance. But it's like I agree with Valkyrie. There is a lot of flaws there, but the fact that they work through it, that's what I also find interesting. It's not your standard TV drama relationship where there's always something wrong with them, but they fix it in the end. They work well together, and and the on-screen issues or the on-screen drama is usually kept to a minimum, which is what I hate the most usually in TV.
Okay, Wolf.
Mm, not much to add. I mean, yeah, it's a fun ship. Again, like everyone knows my position. I'm not big into shipping in general, anyways. But I can see why people enjoy this one, and I don't see anything inherently wrong with it.
Okay, so I like Hickstrid just fine, as contrary to what some people may think, because I was a bit critical of some of it, bits of it here and there. But I like the ship just fine. I like the characters fine, and they are adorable together. And if you're an artist on Tumblr or something, if you see the Berkcast favorited some of your Hickstrid art, usually that could be me. However, I have one problem with it, which is honestly not Hickstrid's fault in a sense. It's just that, how can I explain it? Sometimes when you say it's not the product, it's the fandom's reaction to it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main thing here, in a sense. Again, nothing against the shippers who make beautiful art and write great stories. Nothing against those people, but it just feels sometimes like people think this is the focus of the franchise, and it's not. When hidden in the Hidden World trailer, it says the friendship of a lifetime, not the ship of a lifetime. It's not the focus. It's something that's there. It's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to follow. Everything's great about it, but at the same time, you also need to remember it's a side thing, not the main thing. But again, as a side thing, it's great. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Before everyone crucifies me, I need to make that clear. So you said, "Oh, I'm afraid of that." Oh, okay, I have nothing to
I
afraid of that.
agree that the fandom can be a little wild with it. Like, I think especially after the second movie came out, it sort of took over. And hey, I'm guilty of that too. And that's generally because I'm not someone afraid of like animals. So I'm not really someone who can get that much about Hiccup and Hiccup's friendship. I like to focus on like all the relationships like between the humans rather than just Hiccup and Astrid.
Okay, you know what? That's an interesting point of view. I never considered that. Okay. Consider my point half mute then. Just half. But anyway, we said we're going to talk about Astrid chips, and Hickstrid is just one out of not as many as ships involving Hiccup with other girls, but we have some things to discuss. But before we get to the ships themselves, I do want to ask something. There are less Astrid ships compared to Hiccup ships, not just out of universe, in universe as well. There's a lot less of shipping with Astrid than Hiccup. What do you think? What do you think is the reason for that? What draws people to ship Hiccup with other characters as opposed to Astrid?
I think.
Well, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's just.
Let the guest go first, Rush.
Hey,
Jeez,
I'm not
coming
used
at
to a
you.
guest being this vocal.
No
right? We
idea
usually
what the
work.
order is.
No, there is usually never an order. It's just whoever wants to talk first. But usually our guests are like silent and they're like, does somebody else want to go first? And we're like, okay, fine. I love it.
Oh,
We need you on more. But I guess anyway, I was just gonna say that I think it's mostly there's a lot of different reasons why, and I think one of the most prominent ones is just that Hiccup is the main character. Plain and simple. A lot of you get a lot of shipping wars and other TV shows where there's really no clear main character. It's just a group of people. But then if you get something like this where Hiccup is pretty much the main character, you're gonna have him be more. That's not saying that like just because the other people aren't as prominent, they don't get ships. I mean, heck, we're talking about Astrid ships here. But I think it's just mainly because Hiccup is the main character. And he's hot. Wait, what?
here's your scoop from the Berkcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I already have a
Okay.
fiance. I don't need to say nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Rush, in some countries you can marry two people. So
Well, it's not some countries. It's literally his country. He can marry two people.
But you
I'm
can't
not-
marry an animated character.
I'm not.
I'm sure
not,
there are people out there who would beg to differ. Rush.
My waifu, Hiccup.
Hiccup is best waifu. There you go. That's the name of the episode. Hiccup's best waifu.
It's husbando at that point.
No. I am
Yes.
the husbando. He is waifu.
Good to know.
Okay. Before it got weird, Valkyrie, you have something to say. What is your take on this?
Based on what Rush's last line was, that he's hot, which I think, is a big part of it. And just that males in the franchise are not as conventionally attractive as Hiccup is. So there isn't that many people would want to ship Astrid with. Think about that. Most of the fans who find Hiccup attractive are female and would like to see a female who they can relate with.
Okay, that's interesting. Wolf, I'm curious to hear what you have to say on this.
I think I would say a lot of people ship him with other characters just because Hiccup is. I think he's a good. I want to say he's a good foil. Maybe that's not the right choice of words there, but like he can fit into a lot of places that you wouldn't think a character like that could, right? Like he can fit in with a lot of characters and it still work, right? And I think that comes down to just who he is. So a lot of people will ship him with some of these different people because he can work with them. He can fit with them.
And Astrid couldn't.
I think she can too. But it's just, again, it comes down to people like what they like, right? Like it's always going to come down to they like what they like, but it helps that I think Hiccup can fit into so many different places. I could into so many different relationships, more specifically.
Mhm. Okay, in terms of how I see it, I think the main thing here is that when you really look at Hiccup and Astrid as a couple, the thing that makes them work is not just the similarities both of them have with each other, but also the contracts. What makes them different from each other. And I guess the reason people just gravitate towards shipping Hiccup more with other characters, like that people gravitate into shipping Hiccup more, is just because they they just think he can, like Wolf said, he can kind of match with anyone. Like he can start up, despite the awkwardness he has, he can start up a conversation easily, or at least he makes friends easier. He's more friendly in a sense. Not to say that Astrid is not friendly or anything, but I think if it wasn't for Hiccup, and you can also kind of say it in How to Train Dragon 1, that Snatlout tries to hit on her throughout how much percentage of this movie, and also Riders and Defenders of Berk. Uh, she's just not. She's just a person. I think just a person needs to go through a lot more in order for her to lay off her defenses, I guess you could say. So Hiccup Hiccup is easier, quote unquote, if it makes any sense.
You heard
Yeah,
it here
and
first.
then
Hiccup is easy.
All the
both
better to make
Hiccup
him a
and
waifu.
Astrid. Hiccup and Astrid, I think it's fun to ship them. Well, for me, at least Astrid, but for everyone with Hiccup, it's also that you see him in different stages of his life. So you can choose either Race to the Edge Hiccup or Dragon's Pickup, or even like Book Hiccup, and choose which personality of his you really want to match someone with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said book Hiccup though. That's probably one thing. Astrid doesn't have a book counterpart. So, Wolf, my question for you: who do you ship with Kamikaze?
I mean, for most people, that's Hiccup, Book Hiccup specifically.
Well,
But-
obviously.
So, I guess that would be the obvious answer.
I expected more from you. I expected more.
I mean, the book's not
Never
really
go
about
with the obvious.
romance, really. You know.
I know, I know, but I usually expect some sort of even if you're joking, you usually have this something that makes absolutely no sense, but absolutely perfect sense at the same time. And I was waiting. I was waiting for something like that. You disappointed me.
Maybe no, maybe another time then.
Okay, so I think so far we have two conclusions about this episode about the Astrid chips. Hiccup is best waifu, and Hiccup is easy. Um, I, I like this turn of events, but anyway, we still have a few Astrid chips to go over. So let's just jump to the middle of it. Valkyrie, what is the first Astrid chip that's not Astrid you came across?
Probably Aerith and Astrid. That was, I think, the second biggest one that I found.
Yeah, for good reasons. Rush, what was your first Astrid chip that you found? Outside of Astrid.
Good lord, I actually hadn't. The first one that I found, I really avoided. I just literally looked up pictures, so like in fan fictions and stuff like that, like for a while. But if I'm being honest, it would probably be Valkyrie's fan fiction of Astrid and Steve from Stranger Things.
No, you read that?
I did.
I'm interested. I'm going to look for that if you don't mind. That sounds awesome.
Uh-oh.
Like, How to Train Your Dragon and Stranger Things, two things I like. What could possibly go wrong? But Wolf, what is your take on it?
The first one I ever found
Mhm.
that wasn't Hiccup would be, I think it'd be from one of the first fan fictions I ever read, which would be Hitchups, which was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Astrid and Thuggery.
Yeah, I have an action that.
That was one of the first ones I ever found. That wasn't Astrid and Hiccup, and that was actually done fairly well.
Okay. You know what? You guys have had some interesting choices. I'm just going to have the boring one because the first Astrid shape I came across, which wasn't with Hiccup, is not loud. And because to be honest, when I came across this was around the time of Brave came out, and people know my history with Mary Cup and everything. So it's just, well, Hiccup has married us, so we need to shove Astrid with someone. And honestly, Snotlout is probably, in comparison, the best, quote unquote, out of
Between
the
Snotlout, Fish Legs, and Tough Nut.
yeah, out of these three, who fits Astrid more?
I think honestly, I guess for me, I would personally pick Snotlout, but I feel like would go with Tough Nut.
I agree. Tough Nut would be my pick too, just because that would just be fun.
Okay, so let's just start. You mentioned Tough Nut. What do you think makes like Astrid and Tough Nut? A thing that you would like to read on or see of it. What makes it a fun ship for you?
Well, if you go back to like the first place I would say I would consider shipping them was Edge of Disaster and Race to the Edge, because it shows you that they are a good team. They can work well together if they want to, and I think they just generally have a lot of fun together. That he's wild, she's a little grounded, but fun side.
They balance each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree. Like they can balance each other, and then I think Tough can bring out that little bit more wild side that Astrid probably does have, right? Like he can probably bring that out more than say Hiccup could.
Okay. Rush, what is your take on Astrid and Tough Nut? I know you are a you're a Hicksrid religionist, but I think I just came up with a word. But what do you have to say?
Well, she doesn't hate him as much as she hates Snotlout. So,
Wow.
no.
So it's like
I know.
I like it. So what will kill Astrid less? This one. Okay, let it be this one.
No, so I think if she could get Tough Nut to be more serious, it would be fine. But I don't think she could put up with just his constant trickery, even if it works. Like as Valkyrie said, in Edge of Disaster. I mean, he continually gets on her nerves. So, I mean, hey, like we always say, you can ship whatever you want. I just don't see that one as working as well as some others would. But hey, if you can make it work, how about this? I would believe somebody if they said they made it work, rather than like some random stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
General would piss her off.
So I agree that Edge of Disaster kind of did set something in the relationship between these two that you don't normally see, but I don't see a ship coming out of it. Like you guys just brought up really good points, but I think this will require a bit more work if you were trying to convince me, yeah, this is something that could happen. because like Rush said, usually Astrid, despite her walking well with him, Astrid usually doesn't really give, she doesn't really give him much thought if he doesn't annoy her. But hey, you know what? It's a good base. It's a good base. I just think if you are going to ship it, you'll need a lot of work in order to convince me. That's my take on it. And so, moving on, Snotlout. What do you think about Astrid and Snotlout as a ship?
You've got your typical they hate each other, then they like each other.
Okay.
He doesn't hate her, so that doesn't work. But you know how you have all those high school cliche stories about like the bad boy and the good girl? I think you could work with that there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rush, I'm curious about, because of the one sentence you said before, what do you have to say about this?
I'm sorry, your mic cut out. What was that?
Based on the line you said when we talked about Tough Nut, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Snotlout and Astrid as a ship.
I got a bad taste in my mouth and an 8 from the coffee. So that one is probably iffy. I think that maybe after Race to the Edge I could see that being a little bit better, but a lot of those fanfics were written, I'm assuming, before Race to the Edge. It was even complete.
Some of them, yeah. Actually, forget Race to the Edge. They were written before How to Train Your Dragon 2 was even a thing.
Yeah, and so that's kind of, you really have, like, for all intents and purposes, like, even before Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk, those side characters, other than Astrid and Hiccup, don't have, I mean, sure, we get a glimpse of their personality, but they don't, and that's kind of what's always been like the weird thing about How to Train a Dragon for me. Like, without just the first movie, you really only get Hiccup and Astrid as true in-depth characters. You only get the surface level, or like the stereotypical, what are they? Like, oh, Fishlegs is the cowardly bookworm, Snotlout is the brazen jock, and then Tough Nut and Rough Nut are the tricksters who also don't care about anything. You get really that side of them. You don't get much else. So when those,
I guess Astrid would also fall into a stereotype there as the typical, action girl.
I guess, but we at least get more into her character. We don't see beyond the stereotype. We see beyond the stereotype for Astrid, but not for the other characters. Do you see what I'm getting there? So for those, it's kind of hard for me to understand why they would have shipped those, because like you get a character that's considered a bully, just only interested in Astrid for Astrid, or for her basically looks, and so that's kind of where I get into I don't think that's a good idea. But then we get to, I guess I could see you doing it for Riders of Berk, Defenders of Berk after that, because we get a little bit more character. He still doesn't really come out on top as, hey, we only get like a peek behind the curtain from there. At least, how about this? He comes out from behind the curtain. We see a whole bunch behind, and then after Race to the Edge, we understand really where he's coming from. And at that point, I could see people going for that. The Snotstrid? Ew.
Actually,
that is what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the official name? I never heard about it.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you have Astlout, which doesn't sound much better.
You never put Astrid's name first. You always put Snotlout's name first.
Asslegs.
Yeah.
And that's the next one, Asslegs. You know what? I'm keeping that. I don't think it has a name. I'm keeping Asslegs, HC of the Berkcast trademark. Do not steal.
I mean, it does have
We're
a
gonna
name.
get YouTube banned. Anyway. But that's just.
I actually just wait to keep it on Snotstrid. I actually have not read a fanfiction where they are the main couple. I've read one where Hiccup is with someone else, and like Astrid, it's generally bashing Astrid, where she's just going for anyone, so she'll end up with Snotlout instead.
Yeah, anti Astrid.
I I know what you mean, that this ship usually exists in as a side thing when Hiccup is shipped with another girl. I get what you mean, but I never saw that as an excuse. It's just, they made it work. That's really all there was to it. But if you say somebody used it as an excuse, sure. I don't agree with it, but sure.
I've read stories where she's cheated on Hiccup with him. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, for the love of. Okay. Rash, do you have anything to add to your point on it?
No, I think I got everything that I needed to say out about that.
Okay. Wolf.
Yes. What?
What do you have to say on on what is the name? Snotstrid?
Yeah, it's not
Astrid.
Snotstrid. Okay.
My thoughts and opinions. I don't know. Like I can see the ship working, right? Like I can see and understand why people do it. And again, I'm not against it. I'm not for anything, not against anything, kind of my thing when it comes to shipping. So
Um,
I don't have a lot to say about it other than I see why people do it. I see why people get behind it. It can be fun. There you go.
okay, I'll say this. I don't remember when exactly Jonah Hill said it about Snotlout, but he described the character as a hopeless romantic. So you know what? He tried to get it done with Astrid for years. Like we saw it in the first movie. We saw it for at least 4 seasons of the show, Riders and Defenders included. So you know what? Let the hopeless romantic win for a change. Let him get the girl, even if she obviously belongs with someone else. Let him have her. Why not? That's my take on it. And also, I think both of them are. Seeing how he's the strong athlete of the bunch. Show off or no show off, they have that in common. And who knows? Maybe she can maintain his ego and actually make him, care about the people around him or something.
I would like to see when generally we're a lot more mature before they would get together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could work. Like I said, he tries hard, so maybe he'll understand that in order to get her, he actually needs to stop showing off and actually be a decent human being. I've seen that plot thread before. It can actually work with these two characters.
I would say one thing, right? Like, don't a lot of people. Well, I mean, this was definitely done in the past, from my understanding. I don't think it's done as much anymore. Maybe it is, but Snotlout isn't really the rebound for Astrid, right? Like, I wouldn't say like he's just the rebound. He's what she goes to after something happens to Hiccup, or if it doesn't work out with Hiccup, right? Don't, or if you just want to put Hiccup with someone else, don't do that. If that's what you want to do, you're kind of failing both characters in a way, especially now since we have a lot more for their characters. You can pull from Race to the Edge for both of them to use like for stuff for their characters. You have the second movie as well. There may not be much in the second movie, but there is stuff there that you can pull from and use, right? So, and I feel seeing the characters at this point, the best possible way for that relationship to work out is, yeah, I would agree. Like when they're older and they've both matured a lot more, and you see more than likely a much different side to Snotlout than what you see now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Work in a world where
was-
Astrid never actually got together with Hiccup.
True.
You say that's for scaring me. What is it always going to be like this? Yes, because of that, I'm going with Snotlout. Wait, what? That's a short rewrite of How to Train One. Why that one?
I was gonna say it's funny how we keep mentioning Race to the Edge, and I actually kind of just remembered this a little bit. I think during Wolf's point, but I think we're forgetting about how in the middle of Race to the Edge, or like towards the ending seasons, maybe 4, 5, or 6, where basically Hiccup or Snotlet says, "I'm over her. You can have Astrid."
Yeah, I think
This is true.
that's yeah, yeah.
It's like,
I
oh, you can
remember that.
ship him after Race the Edge, but he doesn't want her anymore. So
Well, maybe middle. Let's go with middle.
I mean, he could always have
He's
been Line Rush.
Yeah, that's
I
also a
guess
possibility.
after Hiccup broke his jaw, it'd be yeah, you could totally have the girl that you like.
say
I'm
that when he
out, man.
asked Hiccup to put like in a good word with him for Heather.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, and he
yeah.
says like, "Oh yeah, I'm so over Astrid."
I mean, there's technically another ship right there that we've not discussed, Astrid and Heather.
Yeah, but
That's a favorite.
you say it's a favorite. I never, honestly, I never saw anything for it.
I haven't seen any fix, but I actually have seen like I don't know posts about it. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Not seen
Okay,
any fics. I've seen fan art and I've seen posts.
interesting. I saw nothing regarding this, but okay, we brought it up. What do you think of it? Interesting points.
There you go.
But
There's your thoughts.
okay,
Again, there's not a lot on it, and I think it's just because like there's nothing there that people can really latch on and grab to. But from what I have seen, it can be fun, and I think it's more so a lot of people see it as not a like specific relationship, but more as just a really close friendship.
yeah, okay, legit. Okay, next up, fish legs, or as the ship name we said. You know what? I'm not going to say it. Let's not ruin quote unquote the joke. But um, do can I go first on this one because I think I'm the only one who actually read a fan fiction where this is a thing.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay, so Astrid and fish legs. All I have to say, one again, this is one of those. Well, we're shipping Hiccup with another girl. If HC read this fanfic, guess what girl it is? But basically, we ship Hiccup with another girl. We need something else. And this was, for all intents and purposes, this was the How to Train Your Dragon 1 AU, which means it doesn't hold anything we've established in the movies or the show. It holds nothing as canon. So this is the author doing what he wants with the movie. And the way he portrays it is kind of like those high school movies with the nerdy kid and the popular girl. It's kind of like that, only not really, because Fishlux doesn't show signs of crushing on Astrid beforehand. If anything, she's the one that develops the crush, which I think is interesting. But overall, I won't say this is not something I'll hunt for. I don't really get the line. I just don't really see it, honestly. But you know what? The way the one guy I'm referring to made it work, it works. It's fine for what it is. As a side thing, it's not the main ship in the story, but he put a lot of effort and thought into it, which is cool. And by the way, by the time he got to that point in his fan fiction, they aired the episode in Defenders of Berk where Fishlegs actually says to Astrid, "I could kiss you on the lips right now." So they were aware, I think.
that isn't. I agree with what you said. That it's not really canon based. I think actually the only Fish Legs and Astrid episode there is the one where that his ancestors were dragon killers.
Yeah, that's the only one where they really got to be with each other one on one.
I thought that that was a good basis for their friendship, but I never really shipped them.
Yeah, I can see why. Again, I'm not a shipper myself, but I said the one person I saw actually go ahead and doing it did it well. Rush Wolf.
Sorry, I was coughing. For Astrid and Fishlegs, yeah, it's that one's more of like a side for sure. I'm trying to think if I've seen that one. I haven't.
There was an art
The
of it
end.
on Anti-Hextrit's blog.
We haven't gone
I
there.
don't.
We don't talk about that.
What was it? Again, I didn't really see much of it in terms of art. Just the one fic. That's it. It's not popular. I'll say this. This is like a niche ship. Let's call it that.
I did see. So
I even
when
seen like yeah.
on the oh gosh, on the betrothal, the sandbusted, there we go, sandbusted episode, like when we had the trailer, and basically like we showed where Astrid was on top of Fish, like after after he licks her hand and she throws him over her shoulder. Like I saw like people putting gifs of that and like, oh, new ship? Question mark. Obviously,
Actually, you know
it's a
what?
joke, but yeah, it was. I think it was a joke, but
you know what? I really know what coming back to me. I remember that. That's true.
I've seen like a fic where it's even with like Hiccup and another girl. I haven't seen that because generally I see Fish Legs as people put Fish Legs as always like as Hiccup's best friend in these fics. So
yeah.
Yeah, in the one I read, he's Hiccup as well. But why not who said the best friend can get a girl?
General logic. Just kidding.
Still, the best meme in the world is the one. You know what? It's not How to Train Dragon related, so whatever. I'll keep you in suspense. Wolf, what do you think about ass legs?
It's Fistrid, but anyways.
No, it's not.
I refuse that name.
I don't.
I don't have a lot of experience with it, to be honest. I've really not seen a bunch of it. I've seen very, very little, so I can't really say a lot on it other than
Okay, so moving on to Eret, really, I think the last guy we have to talk about regarding in-universe. Eret, I can see it working in terms of if you thought, if How to Train a Dragon 2 didn't have Hiccup in it, like you know what, let's take Hiccup out of the plot for a second. I can see how it would
plasma blast.
Okay, not like that, but
long live the
truth. Like they never dated.
Yeah, not necessarily like they never dated. Just imagine, like if Hiccup was just not a character in this movie. Like Hiccup is not a character in this movie, this franchise even. If we're going by that, like let's say Astrid's the main character and she had no love interest in the first movie, then I can see it working in how they portrayed it in How to Train Dragon 2. But again, that's the only way you can I can get it if Hiccup is not with Astrid for whatever reason. Either if he doesn't exist or if he's shipped with another girl in said story or something. But out of all the characters we mentioned, I think this is the one she'll be fine with the most, and she had the best interaction with from what we've seen.
Yeah,
I'll just say if I have to pick a favorite, this will be my favorite. That's it.
I agree with you that if Hiccup wasn't there, then obviously it's much easier to do it. But I also think that Hiccup is necessary for Astrid's becoming the person who she is in the second movie, which is what leads to her interactions with Eret. Like, I don't think that Astrid from the first movie would interact with Eret in the same way that Astrid in the second movie would.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough.
Just want to point out, since HC said, the only way this works is if Hiccup isn't there. If Hiccup isn't there, that means Snotlout's the one who has the forbidden friendship moment with Toothless.
Oh, for the love of no. Okay.
Speaking of ships and forbidden friendship.
Just to clarify this, for the love of God, when I meant Hiccup is not in there, that means that the forbidden friendship moment will probably be either Astrid with Stormfly or Snatter with Hookfang, everyone with their related dragons.
Or
not
they continue to fight dragons and they all die. How to Train Your
Rush,
Dragon 2 is
Rush.
This was Berk. Sorry, Eric. This was Berk. This is why we fight dragons.
No. Like, there's a few survivors. That's how Eret and Astrid meet up.
Oh, no. Guys, this is How to Train a Dragon, not
And that's
I like that.
it'd be. No, go ahead. And it would be Astrid's voice telling you, like, saying, "Hey, this was Berk." To Eret.
Her voice has become graveled. This was Berk. This is why we fight dragons.
To the survivors.
Hey, Eric, come get a piece of me, Eric.
What is going
agree.
on?
That was good.
All that smoke inhalation,
Narration will
man.
start.
All that smoke inhalation. Have you ever heard somebody who had voice damage? I'm telling you,
Yeah. Oh my god.
People say,
Just
and
get
I
Mark-
agree that
just get Mark Hamill again.
No.
He'll voice Astrid on smoke inhalation.
Astrid became the Joker.
Yeah.
Valkyrie, you had something to say?
I kind of lost track. Oh, I saw someone said that Astrid outside of Hiccup probably has the best interactions like with Eret out of everyone else. And I agree, because she doesn't really talk that much to the other teens in the movies.
Yeah, that's I think why go a lot on speculation here and don't really have much to say, because she doesn't really interact with anyone to the point you can say, oh yeah, these two will make some sort of good or bad relationship. Like Eret is really the only one you have something to base this on.
That's also, I think, the basis for Heather and Astrid, because since they had, like, you know, they didn't like each other, then they became very good friends. I think that's also the basis, since she actually interacted with her.
Okay. So we still have a bit of time, right?
Yes, we have roughly 18 minutes.
Okay, so just to quickly jump over to out-of-universe ships, Valkyrie, I have to know, give us some sort of a taste of Astrid and Steve from Stranger Things. I just have to know. I'm curious.
Okay, so this whole thing started because, well, I was already watching Stranger Things, and I rewatched it a bit of season 2. You know, I liked Steve as a character, and I was going to make a story with him and an OC. And then it just, like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, what if I made like a crossover story with Astrid and Steve? I don't know how it would work, but apparently it worked so much that is my longest written fic ever.
Okay. But you know, I mean, in terms of the ship, like what connects the two characters for you?
I think generally, and I even mentioned it like in the story, they both are very capable of being really horrible to people that they, you know, like. Steve, like, spray painted Nancy.
Okay.
That's generally the basis there, and feel guilty about it. Feel guilty and think that they shouldn't. Like, Astrid would think she doesn't deserve Hiccup. Steve would think he doesn't deserve Nancy.
Okay. Okay, I'm interested still that. That's
It's in the backdrop of Hawkins, so there's, you know, monsters everywhere.
Well, you know, dragons may be able to help him out with that. Okay. Anything you guys want to say about Astrid Steve based on that show thing, or can I point out the one ship I came across?
I'm just gonna say nobody could put it better than Valkyrie did right there.
Okay. And I'm going to look for this story once we're finished. But anyway, So here's a ship that I only came across once, and I did do a bit of research before this episode to see if there's anything else upon it, which the answer is not much. But I'm not sure if this character is going to surprise you because you may not think a ship like this existed, or it's not going to surprise you because it's me, and once I'll say it, it will all become clear.
I come to
The ca-
expect the weirdest stuff from you.
Mm.
That
The
episode 10
ca-
fan fiction. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. My episode, yeah, that's not even a competition. I try to make it weird, but the character in question is none other than Merida from Brave. Now, if you're going to ask yourself how the hell did that happen? Well, when I was getting into this entire fanfiction thing, I just discovered it. I found a story where it was different because it had, it had Hiccup and Merida walking together, but there was no ship. Like they were just friends at the end of the day, and that story ended, and the writer started working on a sequel. And I said, well, the first one is fine, so I'm going to read the sequel. And then out of nowhere, honestly, yeah, Rush, I see I see the picture. Okay,
man.
I'll try and keep this short then. I get to the one episode where Astrid is sad because Stormfly is apparently dead, and Merida comforts her, and they both kiss. And just to clarify, there was no build-up for. Even the reviewers were like, "Wait, that was the intention. That's what was going on here." And you want to know what the best part about this is? Turns out that even the writer didn't appreciate this idea to the point she deleted the story and started working on it again.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the weirdest ship, and to be honest, I like both characters, and I just don't see them working together in that way. Like I can see them being great friends, but Hiccup or not, I don't see them working together like that. Any insight from you guys?
I have not read a Merida and Astrid fic. I agree with you though. I don't really see them working together like that. I see them as good friends eventually. I don't think they like each other very much at first.
Well, obviously, that's a thing for both of them.
Even like whether it was about Hiccup or anything, I just generally, since Astrid is traditional and Merida is rebellious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also Viking, Scottish people. That in these kind of fics, this is usually a big thing that's going on. So yeah, they won't be friends at first, but I can see them developing it as time goes on. That's my point of view. But romantic, I'm not entirely sure of it. Rush, I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
I think the picture describes it all that I posted.
Yeah, okay.
By the way, Valkyrie, yeah, I made I don't know why that channel was private, but yeah, that was my reaction to the Merida.
Yeah, now they can see it.
I have questions.
See it now.
So you continually go back to Merida, so it shouldn't have surprised me. In fact, when you said earlier, you were talking about how the time when Hiccup was with someone else, and you didn't mention who, and it was during the Astrid and Fishleg section. I believe that I guessed it was Merida. It was.
Well, obviously.
There you go. So it shouldn't have surprised me. But it made me wonder why you looked for that. I guess we never question anybody's search history here.
To be honest, this the one America, the Astrid and Fishlegs. This I wasn't really looking. I went to the I went to the category, saw this. I said, okay, this is just episode 1, and I just started reading it. It was good, so I kept going. That short version right there. Wolf, your thoughts about the last chip of the episode, I think.
It's interesting. I'm just seeing to be honest, the second you mentioned it, I was like, I wonder if there is any other fix for this, and started looking.
Oh,
There is.
Oh, no.
there are?
Yes.
There are? I looked before. What?
Wait, speaking of, hold on. Real quick, just one that kind of came into mind before we go off. Well, you put, speaking of other ships with Hiccup, well, let's translate that to Astrid. Is there any Astrid Jack Frost? Ass Frost?
I've seen that.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It probably exists.
Frozen Ass. There, that's the name.
Oh,
No, but there is a Jastrid or Jackstrid tag I've read a fic. It wasn't really a fic. It was like a series of like 3 one-shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Drabbles, okay. I think
Fair
that's
enough.
Okay.
Coffee's really weak.
Okay. Jack Frost and Astrid. It could work.
And Astrid.
Maybe. I'll have to probably look this up more in order to say my final thoughts. Okay. Anything else we want to say, or shall we close discussion?
Full-fledged fic about Elsa and Astrid, actually, and I never thought they would work, but they worked like in that particular fic.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how people can make things work. It's like, how? This is well written. Why?
Well, people
again,
know.
It goes back to writing, right? Like, you can make any idea work in writing as long as you have the skill to do it, and you have, like, it takes time, it takes effort, and it'll take skill. But if you can do that, if you can put towards the effort and time, you can make anything work.
But Wolf, can you make
Yeah,
anything?
you really can.
Can you make this work in writing?
People
Make what? The Berkcast?
No,
The
go to
dab.
the links.
What the hell? Okay.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I will just say
could. I'm certain you could.
I will just say to end us on the podcast after what Rush sent us. I may not be the biggest fan of Hiccup and Elsa, but maybe Astrid and Elsa could work. I'll give this story a shot. I'll look for it. Anyway, is that it?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've got anything else.
Okay, so that was it for this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed. If you had to choose an Astrid chip that's not Astrid to be your favorite, what would it be? Let us know all about that in the comment section below. On Tumblr, where we are known as Berkcast Team. On Twitter, where we are known as Berkcast with capital B, capital C. And you can find all of us on the Haunted Giant Dragon Valhalla Discord server. Valkyrie, thank you for joining. And where can the audience find you on the interwebs?
You can find me, Astrid the Valkyrie, on Tumblr. I am also on the Discord for the Dragons Valhalla group. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you again for joining, and until next time, I was HC.
I was Rush.
I was Wolf.
Valkyrie was Valkyrie, and we will talk to you all next time.
I don't know. Okay.
And we'll talk to you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.